Hey, lovely people. How are you doing? Look at this
Hey,
one
good
saying.
night.
As you're talking to.
Good night. Good night.
It's all I talking to. And hey, good night, everybody.
Shucks. Good
In the
night.
Real Talk Show. I know what, this
Good
woman,
night.
she watching on the ground. I know, green man. That's already nice. You okay,
Who,
Monica?
who was watching on the ground? I was watching my laptop.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I'm fine. Good night, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. We're going to have a great show tonight. Thanks for joining
Nice.
us, man. Yeah.
We encourage everybody to share the stream and interact with it as we now starting off. We kicking off the show. How you going, Mark?
Yeah, I good. I just trying to settle in. Not too long reach home.
Nice. And Ava, I'm sure I heard that 5 times for the night already. How you going?
Guys, welcome back to the Real Talk Show. We're happy to have all of you here. If you're here for the first time, please comment and let us know. Let me know that you're commenting. And you're here for the first time, even if you're commenting for the first time, like you probably watch the show and you always just in the background, make sure and comment and let me know what you think about the topic, what your point of view is. Maybe you have a question if you want to ask. Feel free to do that, all right? That's the point of this forum that we have where we can communicate with you all live, right? This is a live show. So I'm just going to read here from our Facebook page to get you all just in the know so we know what we're talking about tonight. So you all could comment, you all could ask your questions, whatever the case is. All right, so it says, does the modern day woman really need men? Or do men still play an important role in society? I know we have a lot of females that watch Real Talk, and I know we have some fellas as well that watch Real Talk. So we're really interested to hear what you all think, because we literally asking you all, right? Because this is society. We all are part of society, and we want to hear what you all think. Do you all think we really need men in society? Like, is it really necessary, or do you all feel like no, men are important and men do have an important role in life, in a home, and just obviously generally in society? So remember, once you comment, you could qualify for one of our giveaways. We do Amazon vouchers. So all you have to do is comment, give your point of view, whatever the case is, ask a question, and you can qualify to win one of our giveaways. All right, it's that easy. All right, guys. So we're gonna get the show started. I want to encourage all of you that are here to really share the stream. We literally now starting things off. I'm sure this could bless probably some young lady or gentleman, anybody that you know. Maybe your family members, feel free to share it right now to your friend or family member, because we're now getting things started, all right? I'm going to go back. We're going to go to Kyle now.
Nice. Guys, we are 20-something people and only 4 people interact with the stream. Come on, you all could do it. So you can like it. Or let's say everybody's saying, Ava here looks beautiful.
Yes, her hair looks so nice.
Like the stream if you find Ava here look beautiful. Yeah, but Mark, I find, is everybody saying Ava here looking nice. Mark, your bed looking nice tonight, boy. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
They have a story behind the hair, Ava. What's the story?
Well, this is my hair from before, but well, obviously this is not my natural hair. So the front hair frizzled from since the day I attended our wedding, guys. You want to big up Sean and Joseph? Congratulations, guys!
Congratulations.
I highly doubt that they have time to watch this right now.
What's his name now? Mark?
So, because this is not my natural hair, my hair will start to frizz and stuff. And it's actually very frizzy now. So if I actually do like a little turn around, you all will see the back of my hair looks nothing. I literally just take the curled one or just try to neaten up,
just
right?
do the front, yeah.
That's what you all see it. So it's just
nice.
fun. But thanks.
Nice. Mark, what's channel news name? I don't know her name, his name.
Melville.
Melville. Oh, okay.
Nice. He changes it.
Papa. So yeah, anyhow. That's for our next show, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna invite Crystal Martin if she's willing to come on your stream and share her opinions and thoughts on this topic, So anybody else, anybody who willing to come on the stream and share the opinion tonight, especially if we know you are, a follower for all the time, and you want to say something, let me know. Let's comment. I would love to hear people's opinions on this, because this is something I guess very prevalent in the world happening today. And we would like to hear everybody's input and thoughts on, on this topic. What do you think, Onika?
Yes.
Yes, could you read over the topic for some people? People now join and they want to know what is the topic. And only 7 people, so while they interact with it, please. Alberto, can you like the stream for Unica?
Yeah. Could somebody could somebody take away Alberto's phone?
Oh, okay. Why he stay here looking great? What's wrong with that?
Right? Somebody take away Alberto's phone, please.
Yeah, I'm fine here looking
You're
great.
asking Ava to read it over.
Yeah,
not
this
me.
is Ava to read the
Oh,
topic
okay.
again.
Okay, so it says, does the modern day woman really need men? Or do men still play an important role in society today? So guys, we want to hear what you all think, right? You all can start giving us your feedback from right now. Comment, let us know what you're thinking.
Nice. Yeah, Crystal said negative. She not stream worthy at the moment. I don't know what I mean, but all right. She says she's not stream worthy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It means she's not looking like Ava.
Wow. Well. Well, I must put my mouth.
I want to look fine to me.
Where's that say, Mark?
I saw Crystal early on today and she did not appear that way to me, but I guess I'll trust her judgment.
Okay. You find she looks stream worthy?
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Ole,
people
yeah,
done sharing their thoughts and their opinions already on the stream. You ready if you want to read 1 or 2 of them as we starting up the show and talking here?
I haven't gotten them up yet, so I don't know if Nix can do that.
Yeah,
for
sure.
me.
Yeah. So I am seeing Ayana saying Ayana. You're going ahead? You're going ahead, Eva?
Nix, you go ahead. I was just giving you time while you look for them, but you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Right. So Ayana is saying we need men. We women can't do anything ourselves if we want to. Okay, I disagree. But yeah, nothing I can do, you know. But but we
so I can tell you some things you can't do, but go ahead.
I don't know.
Right? I think she's talking about, like I would think she's talking about the direction you want to go in, Kyle, right?
I'm just saying that that's some things that men and women we naturally we can't do, but go ahead.
Okay. And then Yana says we need each other. Those feminists who said they don't need a man end up lonely and miserable in their 50s and 60s.
Very tormenting.
Cindy Francis says if the woman is independent, it's nice to have, but not a must-have. Gotcha, Cindy.
Nice.
Oh no, I don't want to pronounce this name badly. Mashika. You know this name, Eva? I'll use her middle name, Anela, right? Says
I don't want to say smart woman. Go ahead.
Right. She says, no, we do not need men. The only time a woman really need a man is to procreate, and that is if a woman choose to. What do you think about that, guys?
Papa Laps, I can't wait for the show to go out to hear what Mark tells me about
that. Junior Roberts says, men are also needed as role models. My question is, what is a modern day woman?
Papa Laps.
Almost every woman you meet nowadays, boy, junior boy. Men, this is Junior again. Men are critical in our society always. As fathers, even more important.
Okay, so maybe we can start off with that question. That's an interesting question. Maybe one of the women could answer. What do you, in your opinion, is a modern day woman?
Well, the modern day woman,
you'll give your input to what is really a modern day woman when we talk about these things. And
the modern day woman that we are referring to is the woman who, as Cindy said, is independent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by independent, what do you mean? I mean, there's a history, right? And there's a context of where this modern day woman came from, because we know that, let's say 30, 40 years ago,
mm-hmm.
the role of women was really different.
Nice.
There was a time when women didn't even used to drive as much as men, right? Women
mm-hmm.
didn't go out to work as much as men did. They would be the homemakers. They would stay home and take care of the kids. Things were so bad at one time that women, and I think still in certain societies, women still cannot drive. They cannot vote. They don't have certain rights, right? They're considered less in society than a man, right? There's
mm-hmm.
still parts of the world that is happening, right? On a particular religion, especially. So the independent modern day woman now would be a woman who basically could do as a young lady said, Anella said, could do everything that a man could do. Um, in terms of work for the same amount of money, buy her own house, buy her own car, take care of the home, take care of children if she, you know what I mean? So you're independent of a man. You're a modern day woman, your career, you're traveling, you're doing basically what you want, right? And you can afford to do it, and you're living your life. You're out there, basically. Modern, independent woman.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you feel to have a boyfriend or a man or whatever, you feel to not well, you live your life. Yeah.
Well, but anything you want to add to that, Eva?
I think Nick more or less summed it up there. I don't think I have anything to add to it, to be quite honest. No, that's basically what a modern day woman is. So a woman who, alright, I shouldn't say a woman who probably don't think they need a man, but they probably just typically exactly what Nick said, they're not as dependent on a man as they used to be before. And they no longer have that clear rule of the man does this and the woman does this, or the man is the breadwinner and the woman is the stay-at-home person that cooks, cleans, take care of kids, and bakes bread and muffins and stuff for when you come home.
Also, you know what? That's sounding good though.
So
that would say, I want that woman. Give me that one. Keep the modern one. Keep the modern one. Okay. The other thing is with a modern day woman, as young women, again, years ago, I don't know if it's the same when people bringing up their kids, getting married at a certain age was an important thing, Marriage was like a part of the accomplishment. School, education, thing, whatever, marriage, right? And
well, for women, education wasn't as important, right? Because I guess they didn't.
Right. No, I'm talking about right. Well, yeah. But now marriage, women would get married in their 20s, early 20s, probably even late teens, long time, because that was like a big thing for a woman to get married. The parents would be proud actually when their daughter, get a husband and so on. But that is not the case now. I mean, I don't know if you all disagree, but most of the people I know get married in their 30s now, or late 20s, late 30s, 40s. It's no longer for the woman. It's not like a desperation to get married then.
Why do you think it's that?
Because of the same things that I said before. They don't feel they have a need for a man in that way. Many women, Kyle, if you admit it, got married. In fact, that's how it was in societies long ago, right? What the family would actually want is for somebody to take care of their daughter. So a big part of it was a financial gain. So when the woman go and is going to her husband now, he's the one now financially responsible for her. And that was a big thing for a woman, to be taken care of financially. No woman these days in business. That's some woman, yes, but it's that woman, I don't need you to support me in any way financially. So there's no urgency then. They have a car, if they want to buy a house, you know what I mean? So there's no urgency.
So I ask you this question, right? And everybody online, you all tell me your thoughts. Do you all think that is a proper thing? That you all think that actually benefits women in the long run? That you live your life, you do whatever. Especially is the opposite for women, right? Because women, would you say that at the younger years, at their prime years, a lot of men interested in them, they're 20-something, a lot of people, and many times they like their interest in that kind of way, and they go around with a lot of different fellas. Life this happen. But when they get older as well, the interest kind of drop in society, or at least around men, because the men at that age, not really interested in them at that age. They're interested more in younger women. And that is sadly how sometimes life does work out, right? So my question is, do you think that this benefits women and to everybody online in the long run? Do you think that benefits women in the long run? I would like to hear your opinions online. Do you think that you spend your whole life, your career, everything, and then now when you're close to 35, 36, you're looking to find somebody? Do you think that is beneficial? Do you think that's actually be the better part of life? I would like to hear, firstly, maybe Eva thoughts, because Eva got married young. What do you think, Eva?
What I was reading comments, I was in Summarize. I heard what you were saying, but summarize
Do you think that this pathway of this modern day woman is actually a beneficial for them? That when they go to career, they do all this time when they're 35, 36, now they're looking to maybe settle down, find out, that. Do you think that is actually beneficial? Or do you think when you're younger,
that's a better way?
Getting married in your 20s.
Well, obviously, I don't think that's the best way because I didn't do that. But that's my personal point of view. Otherwise, I would still be waiting right now to get married. But for me personally,
why you do that then? Why you did that?
So for me personally, I always wanted to get. Now, this is literally my own personal reasons, right? I always wanted to get married young because I always said I don't want to have children as soon as I get married. Additionally, I always said I wanted to be relatively young when I have children because I don't want to, no offense to nobody out here who are a little older and have children and stuff like that. You do your thing. I just talk about me personally. I always said that when my children reach certain ages, when they're running and playing, I don't want to be too old to the point where I can't really enjoy certain things with them. So for me personally, I think I always kind of looked at the future. And that's one of my main reasons is having children and my timing for having children. And I think personally, a lot of times, this is some people, and I'm saying this is everybody. When I talk to people in the world, the reason for them not being married at an early stage in life is because they don't want to be tied down. They don't want that kind of commitment. They want to live their life.
They want to live their life.
They want to date. They want to meet different people. They want to have sex with different people. I'm being frank. I'm being real here. They literally want to have sex with different people. Because when I talk to people about having sex with one person, meaning your husband, they're like, "Wow, how you gonna have sex with one person? And how you would know if it's good?" And
Eva, I don't mean to cut you, right?
How you gonna know if it's bad?
Eva, I don't mean to cut you, right, Eva? But could you cover your mark ears when you mention sex and good?
Mark, say how you gonna know if it's bad? Yes, look.
But I am being real with you all. Those are the kind of responses I get. People say, even when I told people I was getting married, they say, "Why are you getting married so young? You had to experience life." What does it mean to you to experience life? Why can't I experience life being married? How does Mark stop me from experiencing life? But to me personally, at this stage in my life, and I think at any stage in my life, Mark adds to my life instead of taking away from my life. I don't need to be single to enjoy life. I don't need to be married to enjoy life either, but you all understand what I'm saying, right? And I think that's what a lot of people say when you get married young. Basically, you're going to be tied down to something. The commitment. Nobody wants a commitment at such an early stage in life because they want to be free to play themselves, basically, and to play young ladies and gentlemen in the world.
Okay. Yes. What's yourself, Unika? You got married what? Young or old? I really can't remember.
28.
28. Still good, man. Good.
Yeah. I had the same thoughts as Eva. I actually used to say I want to get married before 25. But life
you could have, not that you all could have, not so? How long you want to before that together?
Like 6 years. 25. Oh, sorry. Oops. Yeah, about 6 years. But yeah, so I had those same thoughts. I didn't want to have, I actually, even though I got married at 28, I had Kristen at 32. But I wish I had it earlier, like, maybe at 30 or even, but I personally, this is a personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me say first off, right? I don't know if the ladies will get vexed with me, but I don't think that, okay. Remember, this whole marriage thing and family was God's idea, right?
Right.
This is all God's idea, family. And, I think, and the way things used to go before, I think was more in line with how God meant for it to be. For women to, and for people to get married younger rather than older, right? And women have a time issue when it comes to being able to conceive, and so obviously you can't just say, well, whenever, whatever, in terms of a woman. Men, they have more time to play with, but women actually don't, right? And I think it's a practicality in life too, that you'd want to raise your children while you have strength and health and energy, and and you could work and provide, that you wouldn't want to be raising children in your latter years, right? When you now looking to close to retirement or getting things, you want to be there with your kids, grow with them. I think that's, I personally think that is the better way, just logically, right? To be able to, deal with everyday life and stuff. And so, I don't want to come out and say, well, I see the better ways to get married in your 20s or early 20s or whatever, because everybody's life just doesn't work out, the way that some people plan. But there are women who are intentional and they do not want to get married until they do X, Y, until they have a list of accomplishments, and until they accomplish all those things. And some of the things that they want to accomplish actually is like what Ava said. So not only education and buying a home and stuff, they actually want to experience life and certain things. And they say, I'm not going to get married until I travel to wherever, until I, all these kind of things. And, in that case, I don't know. I don't see that as a benefit. I don't see that doing all those things before marriage as like a big benefit then, because marriage actually doesn't hinder you in doing that.
So before we go to the comments, right? A lot of people comment, and we want to hear you guys comment, right? I just want to add before we move on to the next part of the show with around the topic itself, right? I want to ask this other question, right? To maybe Unika and Eva again. Seeing that women, first my question to you, Unika, would you say that is a tough question to ask, like just to, the thought coming to my mind, right? Like when it comes to again older, a lot of women feel pressure now because they want to have children, and sometimes they make weird decisions. But at the end of the day, that part of their life, or like some people might say, women, say if you don't want to have a child, some women do want to have children, right? But generally, that's like, we're not talking about the odd statistic here. We're talking about in general, or most women, right? Would you say that a lot of women that is actually a really important thing for them, asking that having a child, even if it is they don't see it as a reality now, but generally when it comes to their life, do you think in the long run that is actually something that is actually really important for a woman? I'm asking.
Yeah, for most women, that yes, of course.
Having a family, right?
Even if they don't start off that way, as life develops, and especially if they're married, they might get married young, starting off thinking like that. But I think as time goes on, they feel that desire to have a family here.
All right, and seeing that's the case, right? Do you think that some of their goals is really off? In the context, right, they're studying education, all these things, and they become independent, but really and truly the goal they want really and truly is to, deep down, they want to have a family, right? So within the goals, part of they trying to succeed in life, many times they say, well, now when I'm 30 something, I'll start to have a family. And there's a real fact that most people are facing in life, right? Most men at that age generally would start to look younger than their age. And sometimes it's actually become a little more complicated when it is women at 35, 36 to actually find somebody around that age. Because most men, if you have to ask most men right now, if it is they're seeing two women before them, a 20-something-year-old who's love the Lord everything, and a 30-something-year-old their age who love the Lord, and both of them interested. Most men would pick the younger person. That is just how life does work out, right? I'm not here to dispute if that's right and wrong, right? But that's just how it's just happened, right? And seeing that's the case, and you have deeper things that you actually desire and want, do you think is a part? Do you think a lot of in society now has not necessarily brainwash women, but make them not see value in what is actually they want to achieve in life? Asking that they think,
for sure.
and most women think that when they actually get all these things, then they're satisfied and they're independent and they're free. But then when they really check it in life, that is deep down, that is not really gonna make them happy. Because being able to be independent is not the same as having a family. That is something totally different. That there's a blessing in seeking that in that kind of way when you're young. It's a unique thing that, imagine like I say, Nika, life was set up younger. That, somebody said earlier in the comments that something to do with maturity. That like some women young and mature, and it seemed like in society today that women and men, obviously men as well, right, that when it comes to taking on that responsibility of our family and different, because long time that is what they were prepped for. They were prepped to have a family. You have to take life a little more serious. You couldn't just be traveling the world, sleeping around with this one, doing whatever you want, and then thinking, you know. So I asking if it is that you think, you know, that a lot of women today in society that sometimes they do see a lot of things of when it comes to value.
Yeah, of course. I just think it's how the world made up to, you know, this and just the hustle of life makes people focus change. Just how people have to survive and make money sometimes makes it hard to see a family fitting in. So they see the family as more of a burden because their single life is already a burden. It's a hustle. It's a you know, to make money is a hustle the time you wait. And then when they think about a child added to that now, and I think that's all part of Satan's plan. When they think of a child added to their already hectic life, it seems burdensome. Financially and otherwise, because they hustling to make money and make ends meet, right, and have the things they need. And then you think about a child, you think, oh gosh, nah, I'm not ready for that, or I don't want, you know what I mean? So the child and the family actually, to a lot of young women, look like an interruption to their life.
Well, and this, as you bring up that point, right, in society today, obviously it's not like this point I'm gonna make is not necessarily a believer's point, right, but talking about the generous society. It would seem like, you know, women now have this part where my body, my choice, and they actually evading that responsibility at a young age if they do get pregnant, because they want to have experience sex, they want to do all these different, but now you get pregnant, now you want to kill the child. And it seems like it's a whole design, like you're saying, from the enemy. And it is a sad thing that's happening in the world today, that there's so many things that, even though women trying to get liberated, it means in certain ways that certain things you see playing off in life. And we're talking about the radical end that enables these kind of things. Because, like, be real, right? As a woman, you go wrong and sleep wrong, most likely you would get pregnant. It would happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a high possibility it's going to happen. But it seems now in the world today that happen, you could go and kill the child, you could go and abort the child, and it seems like this is the value system that you will go into, that, you know, this happen, I can just kill the child and move on to my life. And, you know, and it's just a sad thing to see how a lot of things people fighting for, they don't realize the stands they're taking for in certain dimensions. I'm not against women working and all those kind of different things, but just the pathway in life that in society where the world going is actually not a nice place. It actually getting more and more evil, and as much as it's looking like it's freer, everything have a cost in life. That you can't, as a woman especially, you can't just be sleeping around all over the place and having sex with this one, that one, and this one, and then boom, you get pregnant, and then your value system is, well, I would just commit abortion and move on. Because you see, like, when you see the responsibility of, like I say, they have a fear of having a child, they have a fear of all these different things, and it brings much more responsibility on them. So maybe I would like to hear some of the people's thoughts as we go to the comment section, and we would hear what is going on online. So you go ahead, Eva.
Alright, okay. If at any point you're not hearing me or we looking a little off, just let us know, right, guys?
Yeah, looking real off right
now. You're looking off, yeah.
Blurry.
But we hearing you good though. We hearing you good. So
blurry. You gotta go ahead and talk.
Go ahead and talk, because we hearing you good.
I'll pass back on your screen so at least they would see something clear.
Okay.
I should put Unika on your screen.
We could do one of those voiceovers, so I'll read and Unika mouth.
Go ahead and do all your thing now.
Let me see. These are just normal comments. Let me start by saying good night to all of our family. We have Enya, who's always here with us, Ayana Toussaint, Alberto Mendez, Crystal Martin. Good night to all of you. Mashika, Anella Thomas. Good night to you. Deborah Taylor, Junior Roberts. I think we got in some of those comments earlier on where Ayana said we need men. Let me see. She got these comments. Did you read Mashika's comment? No, we don't need men. The only time a woman needs a man. Okay, good. Okay, from Cathy Liz, I don't think we start. Cathy says independent, self-sufficient, financially stable. Brianna Brins, good night to you. Eniala says, yes, women are marrying older. They pursue career, education, etc. first. Easy Rage, good night to you. Easy Rage, welcome back again. Easy Rage to the show. We had your last show. We have it again tonight. We're happy to have you. Easy Rage says, I'm pro-woman, and the less they can depend on men, the better. Both sexes, need each other at the end of the day, unless you're trans. Junior, even a trans need both sexes. How they reach here? How the trans reach if they come? Junior, I believe that the woman now holds modern day as a feministic term, and they don't look to men as the need any other. But the chronic fertility issues, the eggs start to get scrambled. I guess this is what we were talking about waiting. Mashika says for some it works, yes. It depends on the individual. I don't know why I'll be so on a live stream calling people names here. I'll be so those things there. Let me see, Justina, getting married at 35 plus is not beneficial, especially if you want children. So Justina flat out said no, it is not beneficial, and obviously for that specific reason, reproducing. Let me say a special good night to Cindy Francis. Cindy, I don't ever see you here. Really happy to see your name popping up here. I don't know if you watch and you just don't comment, but thanks for commenting tonight. Tiana says feminism was originally meant to liberate women from oppression. Now the modern twist is a bit extreme, and it's a gender war to see who has the higher leverage. Crystal says not ideal, but I won't say it's not beneficial, right? Some people are not mature enough to settle down young. Aniala says yes, toxic femininity. This is a serious comment from Junior Roberts. I also believe that the modern day woman who holds this pro-woman view isn't looking at scripture. Women nowadays look at the biblical term submit as a derogatory word, which they look at as belittling, which doesn't mean that. There are a lot of women who played key roles as wives in scripture, and a lot of men who played key roles in the Bible as husbands. Justina Batiste, getting married young and having a family is a blessing. The kids and you grow up together and it's fun. All right. Tiana says no. Healthy mind and close relationship, God can help guide us to avoid certain issues. Crystal says it is better to get married younger. It don't always work out solo. Christina says, and by the time they get married, it's too late to have kids and they run into problems. Cindy says it's a hard question because we have no power over when we meet that amazing guy, which is true, which is what Kyle also, I think Kyle or Nix mentioned it, that it may not always work out that way, but I guess we literally talking like if it would be the case for you then. Karen Anthony, good night to you. Junior Robert, some women have goals, yes, but do they approach the Bible before they decide what they want to do in life? Because remember, our lives belong to Christ first. Justina, after all their accomplishments, they are still unhappy. Any other says also parents pressure children to pursue status, etc. because of their regret. Karen Narayan, finally butcher Karen name there. Not sure about that. It depends on the person picking. I guess it's different from being in love. Any other says, I know parents who tell children when you're young, get experience and be settled down. Tina says, I'm glad he bring up women choosing careers. So dating is not a broke game, even for women. Men use it as leverage in a toxic way, so I can understand why women will choose careers sometimes. Justina, one can be an all-rounder, having a family, and still okay going with the support of the extended. Zenith Turner, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't think women like happiness or good guys or want anything good these days. I don't think women like happiness or good guys or want anything good these days. I had to read that one twice.
That is true. I can call some good guys I know that women don't want at all. Some lovely guys, Mark. who women. I know some women. That's not even an option for them. That they know, but these lovely guys, Mark. Would you say? You know about that, then, Mark?
Could you name a few? Could you name a few of these guys?
Yeah, let's. Ava now both Mark. I'm sorry, Alberto, for calling people names. I'm not going to be calling nobody names, right?
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Tiana Kwame, modern woman breeding modern woman. Modern woman breeding modern woman. What she mean by that?
What she mean that they're sharing their gospel and creating
the mother, so women bringing up their children differently. Women who have the modern day, bringing up their children,
Junior Roberts, we sadly that even Christian women hold communistic views that the enemy desires them to hold, which is unbiblical. Jordan Daniel, Jordan laughing. Cindy Francis, I did a training on emotional intelligence for work this week. Research shows lonely people die younger. Look at that. I'm Risa agreeing with something Kyle saying there. All right, guys, thank you all so much for we have a good comments. I really appreciate it. Remember, continue to comment so you could win a giveaway, right? We do 3 giveaways, so 3 persons have a chance to win tonight. So if you win any first, but if someone keep commenting, you could just really put to win me clear wrong, all right? And for my first giveaway tonight, let me see. Cindy Francis, congratulations. See you, Cindy. You are our first winner tonight of our Amazon voucher. Congratulations. See you. Like I said, I'm really happy to see you here tonight, Cindy. I hope that you keep coming back here and spending your Saturday evenings with us, guys. I want to remind you all, continue to comment so you can win, all right? And if you're here for the first time, please let me know. I always love giving giveaways to first timers. Keep your questions, your comments, your points of view, whatever going. Kyle, back to you.
Hey, awesome stuff. Is interesting that some of the comments that people saying back and forth, to hear that, everybody different point of view, Onika. So maybe now we could jump onto the fellas where Mark gone. Mark disappeared now. We were back, Mark, on the stream. Because I would like to know what you say is, like, what do you say, Mark? And today, look, all of a sudden, they're looking better. What they do?
Now, well, we was on the wrong Wi-Fi. I had a mind so I just talking.
Oh, okay. Yes, sometimes you say too goody food. Yes, it's true. It's just Risa Marcus clarifying what it's when I said that there's a lot of good guys and some women don't want them. That's what I was saying, and she was saying yes, she believes it's true. Because there's a lot, even when you're young, watch this, Eva. Even at your age, right? Your age, when you were younger, there are other women who could have picked Mark. I'm not saying it's not bad with the other women just in champion who could have picked Mark. I'm not saying that they would interested. Yeah, they would. It had nothing to do with interested or not. I'm not even going down that route, right? Who was interested or not at the case that way, right? The point is that at that young age you met somebody of. I think since a lot of people when they're young, they have opportunity, they have people they could be interested in, but many times that is not the person they're interested in because it depends on what you're looking for, and at any age it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for that millionaire at 22, if it is you're looking for that, that success, or you're just looking to live your life, you would never be interested in those guys who considered good guys. They're not far. You're not looking for a father now as well. You're looking for somebody, that's not what you're looking for. But anyhow, that's just life. So my question now is in all of this, right? What do men, let me hear from everybody now, do you think men still play an important role in society? Do you think that men do this still? Because now, like we were saying before, right, women saying this, I could do everything on my own, I don't need no man. And even when they are a child, even hear their statements, I only need man to have a child. That is all I need them for, right? Do you think that holds truth, Mark? What do you think?
Obviously I would say no. I believe just the way humans were made, your body itself, there's provision for a man and a man have provision for a woman. They're meant to connect in some sort of way, right? I believe that God designed. I was thinking about how, Jesus says it's not good for a man to be alone. I need to look at the Hebrew to see if it's, if it really it's a woman too. But I believe in us, we all have this desire to be loved. We all have a desire for companionship. You know, it's just something natural. I think the world has changed now because long time when a woman was more housewife and the way society was, you may have needed a man for protection and for to do certain jobs. As generally men do certain jobs like construction is a job that men would do, even like going to war and thing. They would, but even in the Bible, a lot of men would do those things. There's certain things you would, I don't know. It's a woman in the army and thing no, but generally it had certain things that the man would do.
Right.
Like a lot of there's certain jobs that men just generally because of our bodies made, we do it. But nevertheless, society is now in a way where women could be more independent, especially when it comes to their career and thing. I would say society has changed. Many people say now too that even to operate a house, you more need two people to be working now to support a household and to, even if you want to build a house and do certain things financially, unless you have a real good job, which is in the minority, it takes two people to work with before you would have a lot of housewife. So that's a rare job these days. So I would say the roles change a little bit, but I would say that a woman does need a man in her life. I would say God is by God design that the way Eva would look at things, I don't look at it that way. The way she would put the house away and put things in order, sometimes the vision she would have, and the little details and the little things, lights and designs and things, I wouldn't necessarily think about those things. And you all hear me, right?
Yeah, you
hear.
If when I get married, I begin to appreciate those things a little more. That God made women and men really different and sometimes even opposite to each other. And I think when you bring a woman and a man together, you get two perspectives sometimes on the same situation. And that is when sometimes you get to see things from a different point of view. Eva have shown me things in life from her point of view and ways that I would have never seen it. And likewise, I would show her things from a different point of view. So it also makes things interesting for a man and a woman. We come from two different places in a sense. We see things differently and we both bring something unique to the table. And I think together we could complement each other. We could learn from each other. There's things that Eva do that I don't do well that benefit the household, and there's things that I could do that she mightn't necessarily be able to do, and it will benefit the household. So I would say we both have things that we could do to bless each other. And also when it comes to children, there's both things a child could get from a mother and a father. I don't want to go ramble on, but there's certain ways that you won't see a man really nursing a child and, a child and, different things. But a man could be a father, a man could be a protector.
But, these days they change that. These days they design things where you're putting milk in a kind of pouch thing and you put it over
and they strap it on the chest and the man breastfeeding.
What kind of thing they're trying to do, yeah?
Do
the man go breastfeed. There's a thing that is put over.
So they strap it on, So and the milk in there and the child,
So they will feel like they breast.
Yes.
That's what they have done in society today too. Anyhow, would you and you realize now in society today as well, like when women say things like we don't need a man and it doesn't need them for children, you'd actually say that's the opposite, even from a political level, that they have revealed that it's clear that children who grow up without a father in their life from now, it actually causes a lot of issues in the child life when it is they look at children who grow up from certain backgrounds without a dad. A lot of them end up in more crime, a lot of more different things like that. And you would realize that having both parents in your house is a big thing that the family needs from a normal point of life, right, Unika? Do you think that outside of a relationship, do you think that both women and men need each other just from a point of perspective in life?
Somebody else want to ask this question.
No, you answer. You got an answer. I want to hear you answer your truth. You good?
Them outside of a relationship.
Yes, I talk about the society that men and women need each other in society. A woman
Well,
like
right,
yeah.
a woman. Yeah, you need somebody to build the buildings and thing, yeah, to do the
Not
hard
all, you,
work and
you
shovel.
see, you see when
What?
Mark, she can't even see from her point of view, a man
Yeah.
opinion on
What?
certain things. Yeah, a
What?
man
Sorry.
opinion on certain. I talk about even that's a man opinion. How a man would operate with not
Oh,
necessary again emotional, quick and making decision making. It have a lot of things that structure within a man that a woman operates totally different with, and
so
sometimes we need each other.
okay.
Yeah,
So what? The woman who never finds that one, that love, and is single all her life.
I'm not talking about
Something
a
wrong with her.
relationship. You hear what I said? I'm not talking about a relationship.
But
I'm talking
So
about
I
in
would
just
say
in
to
society.
answer Mika, like if somebody missing a foot, you get crutch. No, it's not the exact thing you need, but it'll get you wrong.
I don't know how that fits into what I'm saying.
But I would
A
say like
man,
if a woman don't have a man, she would adapt.
yeah, of course, yeah. No,
It
well,
might be the
she not
ideal
adapting.
thing.
That's all she know. That's all she know. She not adapting. That's
She
what she
don't know
know.
what
She
she
don't have a
missing.
man. She don't. You know what I mean? Women need fathers. We need fathers. We all need fathers, right?
Mhm.
Or outside of that relationship, to you talking, Kyle.
Yeah.
A relationship of a father-daughter. I asking
Yeah,
you, Kyle, if you mean outside of, you say outside of a relationship, right?
I talk
Do
about
you
even
also mean,
society, decision making, life
oh,
itself. I talk about
what
everything that
I need a
happen.
man for decision making for if I'm not married and I'm a big woman? What
Okay, good.
what
I
I need
guess
a man
I
for?
guess political views I talk about. You see where I'm coming from? People don't realize opinions matter in the world. That sometimes people
No,
see things from a different point of view and it's
So
actually
Nika,
help each other.
would you say there was ever something in your life, like something you're doing or a decision to be made, and Cohen gave you a suggestion and you didn't necessarily go with it, and then you live to say, wait, nah, that was actually a good
sure,
suggestion you
but
were
that's
giving.
that's within a relationship. Kyle said specifically that yes has happened Mark several times
Right.
within the marriage and relationship. But Kyle said outside of relationship, just in society, I'm not married, I'm not dating or whatever, that I need a man opinion for something. Like what? Like
Bruh.
what, Kyle? What I need his opinion for?
I talk about even in decision making in life here. I talk about from a social structure of life. You so now you take every opinion from your point of view, gonna be right?
No, but why it had to be a man? I can't
I'm
call my
saying that we
friend
need
who's a
each
woman.
other, Gil. I'm saying that we
Of
need each
course.
other. A woman will
Right.
always
So I
see things
can't
from a
call my
woman point of
bestie.
view. A
I can't
woman
call my
will always
bestie.
see things from a woman point of view.
So
Men have
all
a different
single
point of
women,
view.
Kyle, all single women have to have a male person they could get advice
I,
from.
I am not talking about. I'm not even talking about man and woman in the context of like we living in like when I talk about society, I talk about it from a social structure. I talk
Right,
about
that's what I'm saying. So I'm
yeah.
single. I have no man in my life. My father there, yes, maybe because right, but I live it on my own. And you're saying that I need a man's perspective still on certain things. So I have to find a man to call to
Yeah.
get
Do you know there's some things
his.
that you living by because it's a man perspective?
Sure, of course,
Well, that's
of
my
course.
point of trying to make. If you get rid of them, and remember the point of this show is in that
Who
social
say get
structure.
rid of? Who say get rid
And
of? Kyle, you ask a question.
but then you saying you don't need them, so it's better you just
No,
get rid of
no.
them.
You say no. How you can get rid of them? What stupidness is that? No. No, 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 no. How you phrase the question is like, okay, you're
I
not in a
that I
relationship,
never
whatever.
you say relation in the context of that what you seeing. I talk about from just even decision making in the world, like different point of views that people have.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
give
So
an
you mean
example,
all
right?
right. So
I'll give an example.
you don't mean me specifically. So you
I'm
mean
not talking
the
about
world
you.
needs men. Oh,
Yes.
well, yes, of course, because women may do things differently, not always the correct way, and they are, I guess, a bit more emotional. And so, in certain areas of life and society, yes, you do need men. Yeah, like politics. I could see where women could get, and then, I'm not saying a woman can be a politician. Of course, we have many.
Right.
I personally, this is me personally, so I misunderstood Kyle. I thought you talking about I putting myself in a situation where I'm not in a relationship and I must have a man's perspective, right? I personally, which I wouldn't, if but anyway,
Well,
I
thank God you had a
personally,
father when you were single that he could have helped you with some opinions too. Yeah? He could have
I
given you some
personally,
opinions on his.
right? Oh gosh, this will cause a thing. This could also be a topic, I guess, at some point, right? This is me. Nobody don't get vexed with me. I
Mhm.
personally don't necessarily like to see or think it was God's original intention. I know it wasn't. I don't think so. For a woman to pastor a church, right? To be the head, right? Because people will call me pastor because I'm married to the pastor, but he's really the one in charge, right? But I'm talking about the woman is the head, and all, you know, even her men, deacons or whatever, submitted unto her, even to a point in the church, her husband, because
Right.
she is the pastor. The husband attends the church, maybe they're helping her, but I'm not saying, Kyle, Ava, Mark, and everybody listen, that it is it's right or it's wrong. I'm not even going from a biblical standpoint. I'm saying it's a personal thing for me, where I don't know, it just never really sit well with me. So that's an area to where I would say even the word shepherd to me, kind of indicates you're talking about a man, as the head of the church, a pastor. I think the word pastor might be male, if you go to the Greek, or I don't know, right? But yeah. So
I was watching
yes, we need men out there.
Just to add on to your point, right? I was watching, I can't remember the name of the program, and they was talking about the same thing with society. And they talk more from a structure. It's a country in the world. It's a European country. What they did is that they open up to everybody that you can make any choice in any part when it comes to education. So it's not forced like Mark was saying, construction is a man. Anybody can choose any part they want. And do you know it went back down to people was just choosing more in line things that maybe women may more tend to want to do. I'll give you an example, right? It showed that maybe a lot of women more choose teaching careers. Like a kindergarten teacher, because it's kind of weird sometimes. You see a guy, you drop off your little girl daughter, and I think sometimes it could, as a man, you're wondering, where's this man's stories? And in society, that's how sometimes it's purview. You hear stories about all kind of different things, and somehow women are just seen as much more nurturing. Is that true or not? And women tend to pick much more nurturing jobs. That's just, I guess, part of the design in that kind of way.
It's part of a woman's nature, I think.
So even given up to women, they would choose. The point of the whole exercise was that even showing that given up to even women without anybody forcing them, without anybody telling them, well, you have to do this, you have to do that, given up to their own decision making, they would choose certain pathway or type of jobs because it's more towards what they like and what they feel more comfortable with. And it's just strange that the reason why I asked you about society and all these different things is actually one of the things was linked to abortion. That today in society, it is clear that men, they are trying to silence men's voice, that they don't even have a choice. Even in society today that women say, I can have the abortion and different things like that. And do you know, one of the things they're even fighting for is that a woman can have an abortion. Like say, you meet somebody and you have a child, right? A woman is free to make an abortion without even consent of the man, if they're together. She can just want to kill the child and have it doesn't matter because her body, her choice. And hence the reason there's a real fall in society that even because a man can't even give an opinion and say that's right or wrong. Because you would see in today that it don't matter because this is my body, so you shouldn't have an opinion on anything that happening today. And it really, I want to encourage everybody, right? We all need each other from a point of view when it comes to humans. When it comes to a relationship, somebody could be single for a lot of their life and the Lord help them, and they don't really need each other in that kind of context of like, I need a man to be happy. No, the Lord can really help you and be happy. But deep down, obviously, we all have desires. We want to meet with somebody. And it should never obviously ignore that desire. It should never reach to a point where you say to yourself, well, and I want somebody, and they say, nah. And because, let's be real, right? Onika was saying before, many times the decisions we make in life come from circumstances in our life. Many people, if it was given up to them when they look back in life as 40 and are still single, boy, there might be some choices that maybe you want to change when they were younger. Hopefully, because do you know when you get older, you get more stubborn too? And sometimes relationships are much harder because people are stuck in their own way. Sometimes you meet two people come and they're 40 together, and it is very hard to have a relationship together because both of them stubborn, both of them they learn life lessons on their own together, and they are independent, and the man saying I know my thing, and they grow together independent on their own. And sometimes it's very hard to communicate with each other and have a relationship because they are accustomed making decisions on their own for 40 years of their life, Mark.
Yeah.
Imagine a 40-year-old woman and she accustomed making decisions for her for 40, and now you come in and tell her, nah, that's not a good choice, girl. You realize how a simple thing can turn into an argument that shouldn't be an argument, and you realize those things are not actually designed by God. I think it's a blessing to meet somebody, like Eva was saying, and you experience life together, and you mature with the person.
You grow with the person. Yeah.
Because the ultimate goal in a relationship is to get to know people. And sometimes when you get older, it's actually sometimes very hard, depending on how it is you experience life. It's be real hard for you to be a little humble in situations and be a little transparent. Because when you're young, you just grow up and you just get to, you fall together. It means you make bad decisions together. You stop, you do different things. But 40, you can't make certain decisions wrong, or else it can affect your life in a big way, right? When you're 20-something and make a little stupid decision, you buy a house and something, you have some time to figure it out, you know what I mean? But when you're older and you make stupid decisions, it is caused bacchanal amongst each other. And that's why I think many people don't understand when it really comes to growing together, when it really comes to having a real relationship together. But, we want to go to the comment section, unless anybody have any points with the context of women need men and men need women in the context. Sorry, when it comes to the man point of view, that in today's society, that men are maybe not as needed. Anybody want to add anything to that? That maybe you hear as an opinion often and you think it's not true, or vice versa?
No, I just want to say that I think a big part of Satan's plan was to cause men to no longer have a sense of value and identity. Like they lost their purpose. Okay, so men today, the man today is different from the man 50 years ago, the husband 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, so men have this, their thinking changed. Men are actually maturing later. I think that was always the case, but now it's even more so. You'd find a 35-year-old man who still cannot handle life on his own, who still need help with all, you know what I mean? And so somehow men, as they maturing later in life. And so you'd find a woman might meet a 30-year-old man who should already have all his business together and doesn't. You know what I mean? So the woman who at maybe 30 meet somebody who's 30, and the woman might be more focused, career-oriented, all these things, and have a plan. And you meet the man and he's still on kicks. You know what I mean? He's still, where's he seeing? Yeah, not. And women today, if you focus on stuff, you're not looking for that. That might not be the vibe you're looking for now. But men going into their 30s still having no kind of responsibility. Even in terms of spiritually, they're not spiritually mature. You find a woman have to still be teaching them, so and I think that's a plan of Satan, to strip men of their true purpose, on the search and in life. Yeah.
Interesting. Anything you want to add, Mark, before we go? I know. Well, anyhow, both of you can take it away. Anything you want to say before we give us start reading comments? You go ahead.
Yeah, well, I would just say that. Yeah, I would just say what Onika saying is true. God is the one that designed family, bringing a man and woman together. God did that, and everything God does has wisdom in it. And there's many blessings in a family being together, and a man being a leader in a household, and it's a beautiful way that God put it together, and the enemy would love to destroy God's view and God's way that a family should be. And I think that is something that is really under attack, not only from the modern woman, but just in general. Men have not been stepping up in the way that they should. And I think a lot of it comes from what we were talking about earlier, where women don't necessarily want to commit to relationships and stuff early because that is seen as holding back your life. So what we do is we get ourselves in toxic relationships, do all the things that we're supposed to do when we married, outside of marriage, and then when we get accustomed to promiscuity and we get addicted to different things, we get hurt, we get rejected, we experience wounds and different things in life, in the world, because nothing you do of the devil is really bless your life. When we all wounded and giving away all the things that we should give to our husband, to whoever for free, then we want to get married and we bring these baggages, or we come in a place where we need God to heal us for us to function properly when we are married. So we're bringing ourselves at a disadvantage when we're looking to commit, because all our life we've been uncommitted, we've been unfaithful. and we're not accustomed to being faithful because we are accustomed. And if you see the fats now, I'm gonna stop talking sooner. But just the names of the fats like jam thing and whatever, it's crazy. Yeah,
Naked.
jam naked and thing.
Yeah.
What kind of?
Stink and dirty.
Yeah.
Stink and dirty. I thought it was a joke, you know. I saw somebody status and they were asking for tickets for Stink and Dirty. So I'm like, is this a joke or the name of the fete is Stink and Dirty?
Name of the fat is Stink and Dirty.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So,
If you walking down the street though, and a man say, look, you stink and dirty, you
Stink
know
and
the
dirty.
man.
Of course.
However, they're very proud to say they're going to the fete named Stink and Dirty. Anyway, Mark, you can
yeah, and actually, a lot of young people into these
That's how
things
life
and
has
do
always
these
been,
things.
but go ahead.
Yeah, a lot. This is the in thing now. This is what most people do, and very rare you're going to see people who don't want to do these things. People who want to save themselves for marriage, somebody that want to get married young. You know how hard it is to find a wife or a husband and thing, especially with what going on in society now. So it's a real challenge out there. And I would say that, we damaging ourselves. And then when it's come time to get married, we come in with wounds and baggage that was
Yeah,
never
boy.
intended. And it making it so much harder, You can go ahead anymore.
All right. So we start on Crystal Martin. Crystal says, but even outside of relationship, men and women have different points of views, and it's good to get a male perspective on things and vice versa. So I repeat, men are needed because imagine a world full of women alone. Mercy is true. And Mr. Mark says, true Mark, societal ideals and morals have changed. Cynthia Seeley. Good night to you, Cynthia. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. I know you're usually here, but I think you're just tuning in, so I'm just telling you welcome. Easy Rage, that's not true. Women need some eye candy too. Tell them watch women alone unless they give. But honestly, there are women out there who can do everything a man could do. Same way it have things some men can do that others do that other men can't. Lisa Beckles. Good evening to you, Lisa. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. Katrina says, having done the single mother life with two small kids both during and after my first marriage, even though I could do almost everything, it was frustrating and tiring and didn't help me the best. It didn't help me be the best mom. Having a true husband in the picture is the key. A God-fearing husband brought stability to the family. Risa Mark, true, not just physical, but mindset too. Crystal Martin, Kyle, I agree with you. Same thing I said, Junior Roberts. Women and men are needed in society. We have to look at the biblical scope of it all because I'm not seeing most opinions showing the biblical aspect of the topic, and this is key. Mashika Thomas says a woman doesn't need a man to make decisions, but I think in position of leadership, some men are more effective than women in certain roles. Celine Maynard, good night to you. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. Mila Lalu, good night to you as well. Risa says, yes, we need a man's perspective. Crystal says, yes, take it to the top. Crystal was pushing the fire between between Kyle and me. Let me see, Justina. God made the family and the man plays an important role in leadership. Cathy Liz. Cathy says societally men more logical and rational and women more emotional generally in decision making. May not be a popular opinion. Teresa says prime ministerial and even in ministry too. Men, real men as God designed that is. Lisa says, as a single woman of a number of decades, there are definitely times that I deliberately seek out male perspectives with example, relationship, cars, etc. Let me see. Mashika and Crystal says they agree with me. Easy Rage. I know women who are self-sufficient, never married and no children, no boyfriend ever. They are complete. You can't tell them they are missing something they never had. Katrina says, I agree. I too can't wrap my head around the woman as the head of a church. I guess because of the woman said to be the helper. Deborah Taylor says, I totally agree with you, Pastor Nika. Celine Maynard, facts, especially men and women. Katie says she's so late, but good night. Not sure what is the topic, but I'll follow along. Katie, just for you, I mean, by now you probably kind of get a gist of it, but I'm just going to read over very quickly. Does the modern day woman really need women, or do men still play an important role in society? So that's what we're talking about tonight, right, Katie? So feel free to comment whenever you're ready. Patricia says agree, but once children in the mix, a father figure is important for children. And Yala says yes, we need each other. Katrina definitely don't need a man to be happy. And Yala says I hear that my body. And Yala says I hear that my body, my choice, phrase and mentality. Let me see. Celine Maynard says old nothing. I stubborn since I small. And Yala says, when you're younger, you are more teachable. Katrina Hernandez. Oh, gosh, I missed that. Let me get back up here. Katie says, I totally agree with Nika. Men also sometimes are lost and not sure what they are about. Maybe it's a lack of role models, etc. A lot of men lack leadership qualities. Let me say good night to
Seeing Cindy, watching Cindy. That's my sister, yeah.
Yes.
Good night, Cindy. Hope you're good.
Cindy, and a special video from my hair. Pretty Liz, absolutely true. Men no longer uphold the morals and values they used to, as the times have changed. All right, I think I'm back on track here. Marissa, good night to you. Zenith Turner says it real hard to find love for real. Khalil, good night to you, Khalil. Khalil says, hi, first timer. This has been pretty insightful. Khalil, I'm very happy that you find the show insightful so far. Feel free to continue commenting if you have any questions. Maybe you disagree with something we say, and maybe you have your own point of view, whatever the case is. Maybe you have a story. Feel free to share it with us, all right, Khalil? And again, a special welcome to you from all of us to the Real Talk Show. Let me see, getting back into some comments here. Almost finished with this session, guys. Aniela says, this might be controversial, but I find young white Christians get married and settle earlier. I don't know. I never really pay attention to that.
Indians too.
To answer the question, I would say yes, men
I'm not married yet.
Or
you never consider Kyle to be an Indian though.
What do you consider him to be?
Well, that's our next show.
Spanish. That's our next show.
No, because money personality was not. He had money personality of an African, I find.
All right. Well, I want an explanation as to what is an Indian personality, but it's probably not tonight because that would take up the whole show.
That's our next show,
right? I want to know what is an Indian personality because I'm confused now. But yeah.
Mass media keeps propagating sex and its right to be independent and strong woman, and it's good to be single and unattached. Chanel said I missed the point. What was said? Chanel.
Watch it back.
Oh gosh. Cynthia Seeley, I am celebrating 41 years anniversary on Tuesday, giving God all the thanks and praise. Cynthia, big up to you. Congratulations. How much? You have 41 years. So good. All yeah. Good. That is 41 years. Oh gosh, 41. That is my life almost twice. Wow, that's 20 years, Cynthia. Congratulations. Big up to you. That is actually very admirable. Because marriage is it has a lot of ups and it has a lot of downs. I know get married yesterday. So I can't even begin to imagine what 41 years is like, but big up to you and congratulations to you. And happy anniversary.
Yeah.
All right, we have a serious comment here from Curtin Job. Good night to you. This is the first time I think I'm seeing your name here. If you are here for the first time, you can confirm that for me, but welcome to the News Talk Show. The number one challenge to the male is his identity crisis. The average man is confused about his manhood, masculinity, and sexuality. He doesn't have a clear definition of what a man is supposed to be. Some men have confused their cultural, social, and traditional roles with the definition of man. Men are feeling compelled to redefine their roles as they attempt to adapt to these changing social expectations. The adjustment is disrupting both their professional and personal lives. I wonder if I can get the rest of the comments on Facebook because the whole thing isn't fitting on StreamYard. No, that's not about Mish Milalalu. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not getting that one on Facebook. I'm not going to get it fast enough. Let me see what else we have here. The man is a brother. Senator says the man is a brother. Assuming she talking about Kyle. I don't know. Yes, it's Philly, me and I 21 years of age, love.
Mark, where you start this all the night, bro?
Right? About Indian personality.
All right, okay. So I think that's it there for the comments. But guys, thank you so much for commenting. Again, let me do my second giveaway. Mark, you want to choose somebody for the second giveaway?
Nah, you choose. I will choose the wrong person.
There's no wrong person. Everybody on the stream deserves a giveaway. We just can't give it to everybody. All right, let me choose my second giveaway. Senate Turner, congratulations to you.
That's Senate.
I'm not sure if you've been here before, but welcome to the Real Talk Show. If you haven't, congratulations, you are our second winner tonight. Guys, remember there's still one more giveaway left, so continue commenting questions, whatever the case is, so you can qualify to win the third and final giveaway for the show. All right, Kyle, we're going back to you.
Hey, nice. So we are at where we reach our point where I guess we could conclude that both people need each other. What do you all think, Unika? You think both people need each other?
Well, I was now thinking about, right? If when you're married in a relationship, there comes a time when a woman pregnant, she can't do everything on her own. You're gonna need a man to
no. There are women who are pregnant, mom and the man gone, and they by themselves.
Yes,
you know much man get woman pregnant and leave?
Just got a little mommy to help them and things sometimes.
But
yeah, you didn't know man.
Yeah, she.
No, Mark, but they just go and leave. It's happened to you see, a woman getting men making women more independent because they're riding out on relationships and have the woman doing everything, right?
Come back to this, always come back to the man,
right? So you know how many women, as they get in a relationship with the man, good, and as soon as they get pregnant, they disappear, the man disappear, and the woman have to go through the pregnancy by herself, and she does it. She doesn't. Gosh, it might even have some women, Mark, who married and the man absent. The man there in the house and she's still not having the support. She's pregnant and you know what I mean? Boy. So I agree with you there, brother.
Gosh, boy, Mark, boy.
But you don't think if a woman pregnant, first child, you're gonna need a man, especially as they come along to help?
She don't need you. She just need you. For you to get pregnant, that's what they're saying. They don't need it.
Also, when a woman in labor and thing, you might need somebody to take it to the hospital.
They don't need a doctor. They don't need nothing. They can do everything.
Yeah, but you don't need a man for that. Your mother, your father, your neighbor can take it to the hospital.
They don't need a doctor. They don't need
Mark, don't mistake me, right? Don't mistake me. I am saying it is better if you're pregnant, you have your husband. It should be your husband by your side, or and whoever. But I'm saying, you saying that a woman they have millions of women who went through their pregnancy without the man present at any time. No man holding their hand, no man rubbing their foot, nothing.
Jeez, boy.
But I think ideally they would have needed the help of a man even after your pregnancy and they have a newborn child. You will need help to look after the child, to gain back your strength, different things, and we see where the man comes in when it comes to those things.
Okay.
Mark, don't need your boy. And everything tonight. They don't need nobody. They can go. They make the child on their own. They cut their umbilical cord on their own. They don't need people. They just live their life and they don't need nobody for help.
And you made a statement there that it will get the feminist vexed. Yeah, right. They don't need no doctor. Like if all doctors male, it's no female doctor out there.
I'm not even talking about female. I trying to say they don't need nothing or they can do everything on their own.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
The definition of independent means they don't need nobody and nobody help.
No, when the independent woman says she independent, she means she don't need no man.
Right. Well, they're trying to help all that. That don't mean that. Right? Independent mean independent. Or they just add in this thing with man. But anyhow,
Olia. Who's the Olia, brother? Don't put no labels on me, no.
You know, say everything that you know, try to fight Mark with every opinion. He knows it.
No, he's saying the things he was saying you need a man for, you don't. It would be better. It would be better if you have a man there with you, but you don't need him for that. You have your mother, you have your sister, you have people. You don't need a man for that. You don't need no man to take you to the hospital. You don't need no man to cut your umbilical cord.
Yeah, you could do everything on your own. You just cut that umbilical cord and live your life.
You go on extreme. You be
somebody
extreme.
Talk about Zina above. Zina live your life.
You be extreme. What?
They say somebody above in the comment says Zina didn't need no man and she was good. I can't remember some comment they make above. I can't remember. It's something with Zina. But anyhow, guys, we know from the Bible point of view and God's point of view that He designed men and women that way they need each other. They need each other from from the first point of view, from opinions. That men in a family, from relationships, we need each other from in that perspective. And when it comes, there's something that is very hard for women to accept. And even for men, that men are called to be the leaders of the home. That's how God designed it. That's how it's designed. As much as you fight and rebel, you can't go against that. That is how, in other words, there's some things that are designed by nature. You could try and do what you want. You could walk off a cliff right now and be so determined that you could fly. But it don't matter where you say it. There's laws, there's things that are designed. There'll be consequences in life, in other words. And even so, you see in society today, like you were making a point before, Unika, that there are some men who say, some of these things happen on their own, and a lot of it comes through also that just not having a real role model in the life of a father. If some people really had a father in their life, some of the things that they would have been doing, it would have changed because the father would have let them know you can't be doing this. They would have tell them, come and do this and help them in some kind of way. At least a good father would have helped them in some kind of way, right? Even if it is within themselves, they had problems. A good father in some kind of way. So somebody made a point before about their identity and who they are. And because there's a lot of different things in the world that's happening when it comes to opinions and both battle on each side, right? But God has His own opinion. And that's how He designed things. He designed, at least on this earth, some people say, that I got now filled with the Lord's Spirit and I don't need, and they think they can just live their life and do whatever they want, not knowing they're still on the earth and operating on the earth and the way God designed things on the earth in that way, right? So from a structure, like you say, that God, maybe you say that maybe more biblically that a man would be more the shepherd of of a church, and people could have their different. I'm not saying a woman cannot be a preacher, a minister, any kind of thing like that. That's not. I don't think that's your point, right, Unika?
No. Of course not.
Yeah,
I preach and all. Yeah. But I'm talking about being the head of the church.
Yeah.
The leader.
A matter of fact, when Paul gave the instructions, he didn't necessarily give the instructions towards the woman, right? He gave the instructions towards the men. When he talk about the bishops and he talk about those different things, he must be a good father, whom he must be. And you would realize that most of the times it's really designed. Now, obviously, if there's a woman, God use her, build up things. God would lead her to that point where, you're going somewhere in Africa, and that God would use any situation for that purpose, right? But there's two things I wanted to address, right? It's clear Jesus had a problem with the way things was in society before. Remember when He came, one of the things Jesus clearly addressed was the in those times women didn't have a say. It means that men were counted more. You realize? So scribes, Pharisees, all these people would be the priests, and they would have more the education, because back then the way they would learn is not everybody had a Bible walking around, right? So one of the things they would have the scriptures, and many of them were recited, and they would learn things off the back of their head. They knew the Torah to a T, right? And many of them, their opinions in court and in situations didn't matter. And when Jesus was resurrected, one of the first things He did was restore women, that they would actually be a helper. They would actually have an opinion, because Let's be real, Onika. If it is even God designed and I say woman as a helper, that don't mean by definition a woman's supposed to have an opinion or taught to help to say something. You catch where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah,
But in society, that was stripped away. Where women, like I say, couldn't vote, they couldn't have nothing, and God didn't want that. He tried to restore things that each person has something to contribute. He wanted that, and that's why one of the things he did, a woman appeared to him, and she was the first person to ever preach the gospel, right? She, in the context of the risen Jesus, she was the first person to go and tell the disciples, look, Jesus is risen. And think about it back then, a woman's testimony didn't really have much value.
Yeah.
So now here's this woman coming and telling them, look, Jesus is risen. It means right there and then, a woman's point of view, a woman making a statement had much weight then. It means right there and then, what she had to say had a much value that the disciples had to listen. They had to go into it. Let me go on here with this, let me go and see at least with the Lord. I know, and they had to pay attention to that. So you realize God was trying to do something back then. Even anyway, structurally, the world designed today, some years ago, I don't think, if you read the Bible, there's a two half to that. Because the Bible talks about a virtuous woman, and the Bible is clear that the virtuous woman used to work. She used to contribute somehow, not so? Onika? Even in the Old Testament, there are women who would have done, they go in the
She
fields,
contributed quite a bit.
They would have done things in the fields. They would have done a lot of different things that they would have contributed in a home, and they would have, but the woman would have been much more satisfied, because the reality is a curse has come on the face of the earth that happened through Adam and Eve, right? Well, I know we know when Noah and all these things happen, and that men had from the sweat of their brow, and there's a burden actually that came upon men, and we know that there's a burden that came upon women through childbirth, and they would need a man, and they would where's the exact quote again in the Bible where it's used? That the woman was paying through childbirth, and she would what?
So the desire would be to your husband, but he would have rule over you.
Right. So we know that certain things happen on the face of the earth that that came through their disobedience, if you want to call it that. And we know that men had a burden even from back then, that it was a pressure for men to deal with those different, and even within that pressure, it was a blessing. Believe it or not, right? That women didn't have to deal with that kind of burden. Now imagine, Onika, if you had, let's be real here, right? All the women listening out there, if like picture the perfect life, at least for a woman point of view, you know how to work, and wherever it is you're doing is more like a passion or something you're adding to your life. It means like they say you know how to work in the context of working hard. If I rather go to work right now early in the morning, I get up 6 o'clock and work. But whatever you're doing is you're doing business to help, and it's something you like to do. It's something you're contributing to the family because you're not disabled. You're not a fool, right? And you have your own. You could run. You could start up a little business on your own, and you do things. But it's not a burden. You catch where I'm coming from, right? It's not something that if it is you do or not, your family fall apart or something break, or it's not like that burden in that kind of context, right? And you have all the money you need. You're getting to live your life, or you're relaxing and you could travel the world one day with your husband. And when that time comes, you go. Do you think that that's a blessing? Honestly, from a woman point of view, you get to spend time with your children. You get to raise your children, and you don't have to worry about dropping off your child by some daycare, and you don't even know your child. That's a sad thing that in society now. That how things is that most families today they grow up with their child and they don't even know their child. Some of them at that age because the school raising the child most of the time and also from a young age at kindergarten, they don't even know certain things about the child because both of them work for 8 hours, 10 hours sometimes now, right? Because we know outside the working hours is that you have to go to work, drop off the child, and that alone is an hour and something, in transit, and then you have to reach work, and then when you're done, you have to go in an hour of traffic, and you catch where I'm coming from, right? So imagine now that's how society is designed now. Long time that was clearly not the case. Long time it was clearly not the case, and we realize now Mark was making a point that in society today we need more income. It means that long time you can live off or less. Now just say boy, you need both parties maybe even to just pay your light bill. I'm just joking, right? But my point is things you maybe need much more of an income for the average family, the average person who living off a maybe average salary. You need both incomes to help, right? So my question to you is, Onika, and maybe even Mark, right? What do you think in society today, if it is right now, there are like things that we talk about today when it comes to like maybe a woman, pursuing this in her life, or a man pursuing, or he even already in his life. What do you think, in God's opinion today, that is the most important thing for both women and men to hear to help them in that part of their life? Maybe a woman has a decision today that she's saying to herself, well, or even within the house when it comes to values. She said, I don't need a man, I have a child. I go have a child on my own because I remember once I had to talk to a dear sister of mine, and I told her, you know, she had this thinking when she reached that point in life, and she said, but I just want a man, have a child, and I good. Because of all the disappointment she had from her choices of choosing men. And I had to say, I had to encourage her to let her know that is not deep in your heart what you want. A society has done this, and your choices in relationship has done this. This has nothing. And deep in your heart, you want to have a family. You want to, but let me be a little real. Some of your decision makings was crack men you choose, weird men, and hence the reason your fruit is what it is in life. And then vice versa, you desire to have a child because the person want to have a family young. And when they look at their life, they realize, well, that might happen again. Oh, I can't even meet somebody. So my question to you is this, Onika. How would you tell a woman that maybe she's going on a pathway where she say to herself, well, yes, she thinking not necessarily independent thing, right? But the full on view that she in life today, she does not need a family in that kind of way. That right now, more importantly in her life, that she more important is to get her career, this and that, and she should ignore all her other things that she desires in her life, which is maybe she want to have a relationship, but that is not something that you would say to yourself. She needs to work on that. In other words, she needs to work on everything else besides the most important thing right now, where she would actually want in the long run. How does somebody work on that in their life? You don't agree.
Saying that,
that's my point. You don't agree.
Are you saying that the most important thing would be for her to have a family?
I'm saying that deep down in her life, if you desire children and a family, that is one of the most important things you need to work on when it comes to yourself. Not necessarily just finding a career and all those different things in life. It's to figure all that's part of it. But you don't just ignore all your feelings and go and live life and like Eva was saying, I'm going to live life, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I asking you a question.
I don't know if it's like that practically. Okay, because you're saying the woman have a desire for a family, right, and a children.
We should live your life.
Well, then she going along with the desire that's greater. So the desire for the career and living her life is greater than her desire for a family, right? But I think if it is really a desire, maybe in the long run, if she takes it, if she continue living her life, as you say, all into her 30s and thinking I have time for the family, that all the points that we highlighted today, I think it will be a disadvantage to her to have children later. And I think what people miss out, Kyle,
right, Onika, what is the disadvantage that a woman having a child earlier? Later in her life. Yeah, asking you, where's the disadvantages of a woman having?
Well, it gets more difficult to get pregnant as a woman gets older, because there's a time women are working with a time. A woman can have a child indefinitely. Right. It's safer for physically, because your body goes through a lot of stress when you're pregnant. So it's safer when you're younger.
You need to cut it, right? Something scratching your mic.
Me?
Yeah, like when you talk, every time you move it, you hear the scratching noise on the mic itself. So maybe you just hold your mic a little bit forward when you talk.
Okay, all right, okay. So it stopped?
So it don't scream now. Yeah, it stopped. Yeah.
It stopped? Okay, cool. Right. Yeah, so just physically, it takes a toll on your body. And so the younger and healthier you are, the better. Right? That's right. Just practical, right? To have a child younger. But what I was going to say, and you distract me with that question, right? I think what a lot of women don't consider is God's plan for their life and God's will for their life, because God does have a plan and does have a will. God doesn't force us to do anything, but He does know us better than we know ourselves, and He does know what is most beneficial for us in our lives. And I think that a young woman who really loves God and is seeking God's will for her life, and still has that desire for family and stuff, and is putting it off. I don't know. I don't want to say it's selfish, but what I would say to a young lady like that is, you may have desires for career, you may have desires to travel the world and all these things. But what about your desire to do God's will? Why not? I'm not saying it's necessarily God's will for you to have children and get married at a certain time, but I think what is important is to seek God's will, because I personally, Kyle, will not say that the most important thing is for a woman to have a family. That's not the
I
case for all
I
women.
I
You
never
said
said
that.
that.
Yes, you did.
No,
Yes,
I'm
you did.
saying that I'll put it in that context for you. That's talking about when I weigh out everything. That if it is you want to have a family, most of the times that is actually the most important thing you need to work on yourself with. That you many times you go, you seek your career, you do all of this, and you became so independent that you're independent out of a man. You became so focused that you so become independent of a man that you don't realize you might need somebody in your life. And hence the reason it's be hard to have a relationship. Sometimes,
Right.
it's very hard for women and men to have a relationship because they deep in the heart, they know they don't need each other. And if things don't work out, like if all get in an argument, you're done. There's
Yeah.
no emotional commitment. There's nothing that sometimes that drive people in relationships when it comes to commitment because deep down they are not committed sometimes to a relationship. They are committed to other things and they think they could live their life outside of those things. They think that
Right.
I go find my happiness in my job and when they realize later on in life, they are actually many times unhappy because deep down what they wanted, they didn't end up getting. So I'm not saying that that is the most important in the context of a woman value, any kind of thing like that, right? I'm talking about when it is, because if she get older and she can have children for that point of view, some decision making you make wrong. Some point in your life, you make some kind of decisions.
Let me take you up on something you say there again now. You say they think they could find their happiness in their job and their career and they might find their happiness in a family. Well, you imply that.
Mhm.
But I think personally, every single human being needs to make sure that they find their happiness in Christ. Not
Well, of course.
right.
Yeah.
Because we know how the world going, Kyle.
Right.
Marriage and happiness for half of the people who get married,
Mhm.
it's unhappy.
Right.
It's just a fact. Because half of the people who get married get divorced. That's
Well,
the stats, right?
when I talk about
So
your ultimate goal of happiness here, Odika, I'm talking about the natural part of life where you're looking for a family and you're looking for this and
right, yes, those
yeah,
things make you happy, yes. But
it's
it's
a
not
blessing that's been
but
in your
no,
life,
but
yeah.
the way you phrased it, and I know
Right,
it was not intentional, it was like,
yeah,
well, you can't find your happiness in this, but you go find it in that. I mean, and
right,
you know, you
yeah,
could
yeah.
yeah,
My
you know
bad.
what I
I
mean.
apologize. Yes, I apologize. But you
Apology
go ahead.
apology
Yes, I
accepted.
apologize to everybody listening. Yes, but go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I said basically, I think that's my answer is
So
that
you,
I think
you
people
need to find
need to
you need to
seek
see God's will.
God's will because God's will is not the same for everybody in that area. I don't believe that. You
I
don't believe that
I think
either.
I think both men and women need to see God's will. And what I mean by
Yeah.
God's will, I don't want to be airy fairy. I mean in the context of this, right? Society is pushing something that when it comes to like men don't have a voice, they don't have opinion, they're not leaders, they can't do anything, right? And hence the reason when you read the Bible, that's why I'm trying to be practical when it comes to you read the Bible and see where important. You see that many times that the Bible tells you that a woman should maybe put on a spirit of kindness of this and not be this kind of this bossy woman kind of and they end up why it is men they're not necessary they're not attracting a man. You can try coming from right why men not do you know simple practical things like that is what men would say well watch my good because they come around with this kind of bossy vibes kind of so my point is this right when you seek God's will you'd actually realize what's more important in your values in life and you would start to weigh out your decision making you would start to realize what is of more value when it comes to choosing a family, when it comes to choosing even your career, your purpose, and you would actually start to find more fulfillment in realizing that first thing first, you're completing God. You start to find with now, everything else is just a blessing that you realize with now. Me choosing a husband is really just a blessing in life. I would actually like to do a show on this sometime, right? Because when it comes to even marriage, that do you think that every when people get married, is it that if for I'll give an example, right? Do you have to get married based upon love or based upon because that's a question I ask. Do you think all the time you have to get married based upon love? That's an interesting question. I'd like to know the answer to.
Why else you would get married?
I'm asking you.
I mean, love should be there. There should be
Right.
other things, but
Right.
love must be there.
Do you
I
think
think
more,
it.
do you think most
Okay.
men get married based on love?
What they feel is love at the time. What they
Okay.
feel is love at the. How I can answer that question? What most men get married? No, but love should be there. Kyle, I know where you're getting at, but love should be one of the reasons why we get married. There
Mhm.
should be other things, and they should have other things that but love most certainly will make it a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because don't worry, I want to do one day we will do a show on it to see maybe if the people decision making is really love or deep down is what your choices are. Like some people, like, a man would just marry a woman because she's good looking, and a woman would just marry a man because he could provide. It has nothing to do with any. Sometimes it has nothing to do with anything else. Like a woman might look past every situation in life, and because he has money and wealth, and he could provide a certain type of life, she would get married to him. Do you think that's true?
Of
When you get
course. Yes.
and
Yes.
vice
Yes.
versa,
But
do you see men that they
of
look
course,
good and they say cool,
they're
I good
looking
with
for
that,
a trophy. Yeah.
and they say cool. And one maybe we'll do a whole show design around that. I would like to hear most people in life that like what people making that decision making. But back to the point, Mark. I want to ask you on wrapping up this whole thing with people like the importance in family. Do you think people really need to go back to the Bible and find out what is God's opinion on a lot of different things?
I would say yes. I would also say, with the situation, with women and if there's a woman need a man. It's about a lot of people out there, men and women, feel like they don't even need God to start with. Some of it, they're real independent, that they're independent of God. People live their life and do their thing and don't fully even start from a point that I need God. And I think that is what kind of bring the breakdown in relationships. I would, the Bible say, broad is the way that leads to destruction and many find it. And narrow is the way that leads to life and few find it. I would say that God has a say and an opinion on a relationship and what a man is and what a woman is. And I would say, in my opinion, there's not a lot of people that really seek after God as to what is their identity. A lot of men haven't found their identity in Christ. And I think because of that and because of the issues that, we face in society, and even with men not being who they're fully called to be, that's where the breakdown in relationships start. And that is where, people could experience, you could experience certain things that should come with a relationship and not even necessarily have a relationship. And I would say that is where the thinking come from, is a mindset that comes from sin, that I could be with somebody, that I could be promiscuous and I could see about the child myself, or I could do certain things myself and I don't need a man. Or the man might say, well, me necessarily need to be committed to a woman, I could just do my thing. And I think what we need is to really come back to God and come back to God in repentance and see what is his original intention for a man and woman. I would say generally, a man don't necessarily have to be with a woman to live a fulfilling life, and likewise the woman. But I think generally the desire is in every one of us to experience a relationship. And I would say that we really need to first of all come to God in repentance and find our identity first in Christ, and then we're able to better be a blessing in a relationship, because there's things that we need. I would say, even if I am a single man and I was not married, there's a lot of things now being married that I see Ava do in my life, and just the way that I live and thing, I realized, wow, I really needed this. I could speak for myself and say I needed a wife. I don't think I could have really hold on certain things on my own. And
Amen.
I would say there's no momentum and that need a husband, honestly. And what happens to the Bible said the wounds of a friend could be trusted. A man and a woman, a husband and wife, has such a unique relationship that you expose everything to each other, everything. And this person loves you. And you have somebody in your life that can see all your flaws and actually speak into your life and identify flaws in your life. And you don't feel offended and you don't feel like you need to run. Because when Adam and Eve sinned and they had shame and different things in their life, they run from God and they never dealt with it in the way that they should. And what could happen in a marriage if it's especially done the way God intended to be? There's issues that we all have in our life that somebody else might notice, your wife or your husband could notice, and actually help you become a better person. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it with God alone, but what I'm saying is, if God is in the marriage, you have somebody that can know love you. You have somebody that could help you. You have somebody that could correct you in love, somebody that you could expose your issues to, and somebody that could help you. in many ways, and somebody that could help you even be better at what you're good at. Somebody who could see your talents and say, you could do this, that, and be even more effective. And the reason God brings a man and a woman together is to do his will. And sometimes you could go further together. The Bible even says a threefold cord is very hard to break. And there's something unique in a marriage that God does. The Bible says, for this cause a man shall leave his mother and father and come together. God always has a reason for bringing two people together. God has a purpose within marriage. And it's a beautiful thing to discover, and it's a beautiful thing to grow in with each other. You learn a lot about love. In marriage, you learn about the relationship that Christ has with us. Because the Bible says a husband should love his wife as Christ loved the church. And there's something in marriage that kind of replicates, or is almost like a parable or a representation of the love of God that he has for us as believers, and the love of us as believers towards God. And I actually learn things about the love of God within marriage. I see how the actions of my life could actually affect her, could bless her, or could affect her in a negative way. And likewise, and I see how much she trusts me to be able to commit her life to me. That I could do things that could actually hurt her and things, but because I love her, I choose not to do it. And I see that with God, that he didn't need to choose me, but he chose me because he sees value in me. And there's a lot of things you learn in marriage. You go through seasons, you learn patience. And sometimes when I going through issues with Ava and I feel like she's not listening to me, I go back and I say, but God, it had many times in my life I had sin and different things in my life, and you're trying to talk to me, and I was rebellious. And I learned, okay, the same way you love me and could be patient, I could do that with her. And I also say, God, next time when you talk to me, I'm going to be rebellious like that. It's a learning and a growing. So there's a beautiful thing in marriage, and there's also things that you could give to your children. So me and Ava together could accomplish more. And we could also, do inheritance, bless our children, bless people. There's blessing in marriage. So that I just want to share that.
Awesome stuff, Mark. And so my point, we go back to the thing, is I encourage everybody to really start to go back to the Bible, because you realize abortion is the norm going in the world today. That comes from somewhere in society. You'd realize the opinions of it comes from a place where men, you have no choice to say any matter. And you'd realize it is actually distorting God's opinion on everything on the face of the earth. It's actually distorting, or even how God, in the context of our marriage, of all these different things that we see, that a submission is a bad word. When you say you read the Bible, that is like a curse. And you realize people would use people use that word. Non-believers, and also too, and even believers would use that word when they hear God say to submit. That's like God is a bad person. It's God telling the woman to submit and vice. And you realize people don't understand that there's blessings. And I'll give you a good example. Remember earlier, I'll give you all a good example that if a man is doing everything right, there's a beautiful thing in submission. Obviously, if there's something bad in you and a man telling you to do madness, you go fight. You go feel like, but if submission if it is you're working according to God's ways, you realize how God actually designed things to be a blessing to each other. Because God actually wants us to be a blessing. Not that we need anything from each other in that context where you enter the relationship, I need this from you, I need that from you, I need this from you. He wants us to be a blessing to each other. So even in Mark, where he's talking about there, right, where he's trying to help it, it's not that necessary. Mark can live his life independent on many of these issues, But as he get help from it, actually help him develop in his calling in his life. It actually help him with certain things in God's plan. I will lay on this, right? You could die right now and go to heaven. But a lot of your development on the face of the earth is actually for your serving God. It's for your purpose on the earth. It's because the best thing you could do right now is be in heaven. And I think everybody would agree to that, right? But while you're here, one of the reasons you're developing on the face of the earth is first to help yourself as a person to be more effective in the things of God. And you're here for a purpose. You have a reason on the face of the earth. Your reason is not to be a freedom fighter in that kind of context. It's to be used as who God wanted to be a gospel, a minister of the gospel. So in any point of your life, it means that wherever you're working in any part in your life, God wants to use you, because you can't be ignorant to the end times and where the world going. And one of the reasons I believe personally for me, right, why marriages are not working is because of a simple thing. The Bible says, I think we covered that last time on one of the shows, right? The Bible says in the last days, the love of many would wax cold. I believe many people miss love. They miss love in just the general sense of loving somebody in a marriage who has flaws. That's hard for people to deal with. There must be a certain way, and it must, because you watch Facebook, and you're realizing this is what the standard that the society set in. You get where I'm coming from, right? And even and you don't realize it is take work for a relationship to happen. Things will just happen with people, and and many times because people lack love on the face of the earth, it just don't work out for many people. Some people, their marriage fail because the man expecting the woman to make food for them, and they say, "Who's you?" I say a slave and this, and there's a hard that imagine them things is cause divorce. And you'd realize it really lack love, that people really lack a sense of loving somebody unconditionally, lacking, for value in them for who they are. And I think you really have to go back to first to receive the love of God. When you really receive the love of God, it really changes your opinion in life. It really changes your values in life. It really changes what is important in your life. You really start to look at life and you realize you see beyond people's words, Onika, where they're coming from. Because part of your life you realize you needed God. And now here's these people trying to say you don't need nothing. You're on your own. And you realize to yourself, no, but that is not the truth. I know it is to be broken and need help in my life. And what it was like without the love of God. And you realize now your values start to change. And it's almost like a spirit of discernment that's come on here. Where you start to realize the words I hear are just not normal words. Because I see the extreme on both sides. Because of the feminist movement, there's the red pill society that come up in the world. Where men are like... The red pill society, they call them, where women are like basically, they still seen as slaves, in other words. They believe strongly in that the women are like, they working different things like that. They believe that that's a woman, they find no happiness in them, kind of thing like that. So they believe that shouldn't be that case. That, how many people say the old system does work better than the new one. So they believe everything from the old system was correct, in other words. They believe that the woman staying home, she doing this, and they believe that that's how things should be. And I don't believe that is the truth. I believe that women have callings on their life, they have a purpose on their life, and God called them for a reason, and God want to use them as a blessing, I see my fiance, this worship, she's do different things, and I can imagine a long time she wouldn't even be free to do so many things that she want to do. You catch where I'm coming from, right? That imagine something like simply maybe singing, like doing those things might be frowned upon for a woman to do something like that in the church. So my point is this, right?
I think they could always sing,
I don't know. I really don't know, right? I don't know if Paul is the one who introduced many different things, Like I talk about like to lead. I'm not talking about like the singing. I talk about to lead in the context of leading somebody into something. I don't know if women could like lead in that kind of way. I really don't know. But my point is this, right? I think God called people and they have a purpose on the face of the earth. And I think it's a blessing when both people could discover their purpose and their joy with each other or with God. But my point is not to fight each other in your walk. I think that is just do more harm to people. And I encourage everybody to just see where your opinion come from. Many people have opinions because they come from a broken place. So sometimes they say, I don't need a man or doing this, because that's the experience in life. You know it is to live a life without one. But sometimes you leave, and vice versa, men, they think, well, I don't need no woman. All I need for is sex and if I could live my life. And women, they become objects in their eyes. They don't see them as somebody who they could love and be emotionally committed to. That, they don't see that as something that they desire, in other words. But Onika, I want to ask you a final question before we go, right? Final one. Seeing that God has a purpose for women and men, how do you think was the first way that as a young lady, there's a burden that's put on all of us in life. You must go to school, you must do this, you must do that. And even some parents just shun the things of God from children at a young age. What do you think as a young lady and a young man, what do you think are some of the first steps they should do to maybe start to discover what is God's purpose in their life? Or do you think are some of the first things they could guide somebody to do something like that?
I think first of all, you have to establish a relationship with God. There's no way you could find out what God's will is for your life or without knowing him, right? You have to establish a relationship with God, and how you could do that one of the ways you could do that is by reading His Word. The
Mhm.
the Bible is full. The Bible is full of God's will for us.
Right.
People like to try to find God's will in all kind of mysterious things, prophets, thing. People and people are very interested. I don't know if you all realize in the future. They go and they read cards, they like this psychic thing. That's a big thing now, finding out the future. And
Mhm.
I think they're missing the simplicity of just having a relationship with God, a connection with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that the Bible has a lot of insight, would offer any young person insight into God's. You'll get an idea of His heart and who He is and how He feels towards us and who you are, because you'll
Mhm.
also discover who you are. Many young people don't have never really discovered who they are, and
Yeah.
they go on to get married as somebody who is still haven't discovered themselves. They still really don't know their true purpose, and they still probably feel incomplete. They feel. But so I would encourage any young person who is not married, you're single at this point in your life, to really try to establish a real relationship with God
Yeah.
and be open to the leading of the Holy Spirit. I know that might seem strange for a young person because young people thinking different. It's like,
Yeah.
I out here to live. Are you telling me about guidance and Holy Spirit? You know what I mean? But it's at that time, I think in those years, it is very important because many people go off from then. They go
Mhm.
on the wrong track. They start off on the wrong track from that age, with the wrong, they develop wrong desires and passions because of the world. And
Yeah.
sometimes even what their parents might push up on them, you know.
Yeah.
But it's important to have a connection with God and to be able to establish what is God's will for you as an individual, and the gifts, and to discover also, Carrie, the gifts and the callings that God placed in you. Because when you discover those gifts, it kind of leads you towards your purpose. So
Yeah.
if I discover at 18 all of a sudden that I have this desire and ability and I'm gifted, I could sing, maybe I'm a good speaker, maybe I'm a good writer, whatever it is, that God gives us those gifts as a guide to help us to know what area we should. So it's not
Mhm.
a mystery. So many times those things that are placed in us from young, it is God that put it there, the talents we have, the natural things that people always tell you, you're so good at this, and how, that's God showing you, giving you an idea, of,
Yeah.
of, of which way to go. So I think establishing a relationship with God is really important, and knowing His will. And it's not a difficult thing to do. As I said, the Bible is a good tool to use, and also finding yourself among people who love God as well, and that their
Yeah.
desire is to do God's will. So perhaps in a church, or you know a group with people who could help you and guide you, and that kind of thing.
I think that's
Yeah,
important too. That in the Bible actually say in the last days we shouldn't forsake the assembling of ourselves. Because
very
one,
important. Yeah.
I mean, I pray that everybody on the stream find a good community or church. Because one of the things, I mean, both men and women have a point where they feel they know everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear one of the things our pastors in the Bible is to help people become who they are in God. That's one of the things our pastor in your life is for. You know, in that kind of church, is to help you
Mm-hmm.
discover who you are in God. It's almost like a father in your life to help you grow in the spiritual things, to help you be aware of certain things, to correct you in certain things. And when you're young, that is something you should pursue. You should really pursue in becoming who you are in God. I can tell you from an age of 24, I think that was one of the best. I mean, that's maybe late in life already, right? But that's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Seeking God and really giving him all at a young age, like that age. And because it helped me in many parts of my life where in my decision making and choosing somebody, it really helped going along. And because I see people who live their life, who they just come visit church and 10 years of their life and they have grown nowhere spiritually. You know what I mean? And they have put no effort, and there's actually sometimes it's so difficult sometimes for people to get help in that era because many times they just want to live their own. They think, well,
Mm-hmm.
God is really serving them. They're not serving God. So I
Yeah.
encourage you that young age to have that reverse mind thinking. And it's not even serving God when people think of like serving him in this kind of way where it's like this. Obviously, that's a big part of it, right? But it's also him showing you who you are. You're starting to develop who you are as a person. You're starting to get your wits, your discernment. You're starting to get even your spunk in life. Believe it or not, there's some people who they when they serve God, they are more beautiful people. Sad to say.
True.
When they serve God, They are much
Yeah.
more beautiful people. Because some of
Yeah.
them live left on their own, they have some bad attitudes, they have some, and they see it. But when they serve God, they say, well, there's a different person here, boy.
Yeah.
In Christ, you are the most beautiful person you could ever find because that is who God called you to be. It's who He
Yeah.
created it to be. And as you serve Him, you realize you start to find who you are as a person. You find, you'd have a freedom that is beyond people's words and beyond people pressure. And I encourage everybody to really, in this time, especially time we're approaching, today we saw the crash of the economy. We don't know what's going to happen in the world, believers and not. Well, they really don't know what is happening in the face of the earth right now. And I encourage everybody in this moment in time to really seek God and to really seek His thoughts, His opinions, because His opinions matter the most. People could, like Mark was saying right now, reserve their life. People could live so much in life that God's opinion could become irrelevant. They think they find a way that is smarter than God. That is even a proverb, right? They think they become so smart, they become foolish in life. And that many times apply to believers. They think they're so smart and they need to do this, they need to do this, and what they end up many times going on is a carnal life.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. Many times they become so, I want this perfect life and I need to work in this big money. And what they end up doing is pursuing such a carnal life that they miss what God was telling them in the moment. So I encourage you all in many times in life I've seen God pull through for me many times in life. And I'm sure Mark, I'm sure Onika could testify, and God have your back in life. He will take care of you. Your husband is not the ultimate goal of a provider in your life. God is. He's the one who will provide for you. Even when it is your husband playing the clown, God would back, God will help. If it is you're really seeking God, He'll open ways for you. A matter of fact, the Bible says for a virtuous woman, that's one of the two things she's not in, the husband is not in the streets because of her. Not because of himself or what he does do, it's because of such a great woman he married. So I encourage everybody who out there to really seek God's will in this time, to really put aside everything that's happening and really focusing on what God's opinion is in the world. Really go back to the things of the Bible. Paul commended the believers at the point in time when he was preaching, and they went home and they said they went and find out what he's saying was the truth or not, because there is truth that we could go back to in spite of what church you're going to, whatever the case may be. When you go home, you could go and read the Bible and see for yourself if that meant something, if it's real what the pastor say, and you could go back home and really study and hear from God on your own. So I encourage everybody to really seek God's voice, and I encourage everybody to really discern the times where we're at and to really have a more humble approach in life, that you really need help and you really need, because don't be the foolish virgins who didn't think, they became so wise in themselves. They thought they was wise, right? That they missed out on the Holy Spirit and His opinion and His voices and what matters the most. The opinion that matters the most on the face of it, ladies and gentlemen, is really the opinion of the Holy Spirit. It's really the opinion of God. His voice and what He says is the matter the most. Like I give you all the example already. Walking off the cliff, you could say what you want about gravity. It's going to have consequences in life. Vice versa, when it comes to living this earth, there's consequences from not going to what God's opinion is. That's just life. Some could be life threatening. Some could be you're missing out on life. That's just how it is. It's not that you're not happy or you just miss out on a lot of opportunities in life, a lot of blessings, because you didn't go listening to God's voice or His opinion in your life. So we want to go to Mark and Ava, and I guess they can wrap up the show. I don't know if anything before we close off, Onika, you wanted to say?
Just have a good night, guys, and enjoy your Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
It's true. Tomorrow's Father's Day.
Yeah, and I hope you all enjoy your day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mark, next year, I'll be wishing you a happy birthday, Mark. Next year, a happy Father's Day.
Happy birthday.
Ava.
Yeah.
Birthday, Mark. Will I be wishing Mark happy Father's Day?
Watch Mark and Ava face.
You never know. Right in the room.
Somebody drop a gift for them.
But it's a boy, Tirana, so I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
Anyhow, you guys take it
Happy
away.
Father's Day. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Hey, if I could give me the next giveaway, if there's a lucky father in the comments, if there's a father in the comments, let us know. But you ready for?
I wouldn't know who is and isn't a father, but let's see, right? All right, so my first comments I'm going to read here. I'll just read probably a few comments because I don't like to leave the comments unread. Curtin, Job, men and women need each other. However, as for men, they don't even feel wanted or needed by women any longer. they used to have clear direction about where they were going as men. Now it's as if they are trapped in a maze, frustrated and unable to move forward purposefully in life. That is sad. That a change, cousin Joe. Cynthia Seeley is wishing all the fathers happy Father's Day. Mashika says women had to rise up and take leadership positions in the church because the men are becoming extinct in the churches in some nations. 90% of the congregation is women. Then the thing is a woman will always need a man and a man will always need a woman. Because if we never needed each other, women would be on a planet by themselves and men the same. God made men and women to fit together, both in strengths and weaknesses to complement each other. Over time, the value of relationships or commitments has changed. Our one was from Cathy Liz. Let me see. We have Risa Mack in agreement with Kyle. Katrina is also in agreement with Kyle. Katrina says, desire for career may be a forced desire too, because she may want to be able to give her children the best opportunity. Justina says, when a couple marries and they want children and it never happens, that can destroy a marriage. What advice you will give them? Let me see. Dawn Phillip is agreeing with Cass and Athena. I know a woman who was struggling and had nothing, and the man she met who also had nothing came together, and now the board house they was living in is a five-bedroom concrete house. Now they have vehicles, all these things, they are not Christians, but for example, nothing can stop you from achieving things in life if you really want it. Just take teamwork and like-mindedness. Justina, stability is important in order to soar. Katrina says many don't understand love. Mashika says men must have US thus. US or US dollars? Okay. Yeah. Justina says love is important. Tiana Kwame says no man. Women get judged for not wanting a man. Then when they choose, they get judged for choosing what they want, whether it's money or looks. Love. Justina. That's Justina. No, who say that? Tiana Kwame. I don't know the reasons you're choosing for. Justina Batiste says love comes as you grow together. Most Oriental countries, marriages are arranged and they grow, build and fall in love. Mashika, she's a helper. Tiana, I agree. Identity and price of importance. Cindy Nayak, I'm happy for you anyway. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
To the two Cindys. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Cindy Nayak and Cindy Francis. Cathy Liz, if you don't depend on God to show you if the person is really the one, you can make such a big life mistake. People say the right things and do the right things, and then when you end the marriage, they show you all the hidden things. And now you're committed and they're looking for an out. No amount of support and love can make a difference to a person who is not grounded in God. They are seeking the world. All right, I think we're more or less wrapping up here. We just have some general comments. Thank you guys so much for all of your comments. Justina said God has set standards, and if we know what God expects of us in marriage, all will be well.
I'm just gonna give a response on the question with the child. I think that is a very with the person where you're married and you don't have a child and you wanted a child. I saw the comment where they say that could destroy a marriage. I wouldn't say I have the answer for that, but I could say that it is a difficult thing to go through something like that. But if I were in a position like that, what has encouraged me is Abraham, where he was believing for a child, Isaac, and God blessed him with a child, and then he was led by God to offer up Isaac. And Abraham believed, if you read it, that even if he was to kill Isaac, that God could raise him again from the dead. And Abraham just had a faith, and no matter what, he didn't want to do it, but if there's what God's saying, he was like, fine, even if I kill him, God will find some way to raise him back. And I would say that God sees the desire in your heart, and it is a good desire. It is something that God wants for you. So I would personally believe for God to do a miracle. But I would say don't limit God. Like Moses never made it into the promised land when he was alive, but he did come back after with Jesus when he was on the mountain. God could fulfill God will fulfill. You never know what God could do. Like I would believe that when I go in heaven or something, if that is like the last resort, God gonna say, hey, look your children. Or God could do. I don't know. I would just have faith in God that God could do something. So that is something you're gonna have to work out with God, both you, whoever, like the husband and wife. But I would say don't give up on God. Nothing is impossible for God. And I just personally feel like I wouldn't limit God to only come through in this life, but we have a whole eternity that we would spend with Him. And God would never leave somebody unsatisfied or feeling like they miss something, especially if it's a righteous desire. I believe that God will fulfill, God will give us the desires of our heart because that is who He is. So I would say have faith in God. Have like crazy faith in God in that situation and let Him lead you. So that's just my, advice on it. I don't know if anybody else want to say anything, but
Justina Batiste says submit is not being a flaw matter in the will of God. Cousin Job's submission being under the mission of a man husband as a veterinarian leader. Celine Maynard, a nice fluffy pair of wings, streets of gold. God has everything your heart desires in heaven. Justine also added, God has set standards, and if we know what God expects of us in marriage, all will be well. I'm not sure if I read that one earlier on. I think that is about it. Oh gosh. We want to say happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. I am not sure if I have any fathers on the stream tonight. I know I mainly have women. I'm only seeing woman, female names. I did see Curtin Job though, and Curtin Job had quite a few comments. So our final, and I think Curtin may be here for the first time, I'm not too sure. So our final giveaway will go to you, Curtin Job. Congratulations to you. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. I hope you enjoyed the show if this was really your first time viewing. And for everybody else who viewed here tonight with us, we hope you enjoyed the show. Of course, if you feel like the show could have blessed someone that you know and you just didn't share it when it just started or whatever the case is, that's fine. Our shows are always saved on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to share the show from one of those pages. And of course, guys, we love having you all here. We love reading your comments. We love communicating with you. So feel free to click on that reminder, the little notification bell, so that every time we go live, you are here with us and you are one of the first persons commenting, all right? Because we love having you all here. We really enjoy spending our Saturday evenings with you. We are here, and for anybody who's here for the first time, we are here every other Saturday at 7:30 p.m., all right? Guys, we also want to encourage every one of you viewing. If you feel like there's a topic that we haven't spoken about and you'd like to hear us talk about it, feel free to inbox the Real Talk page on Facebook. We love hearing from you. As I said earlier, we love hearing your comments as well, all right? Reading your comments. So we want to say again, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Congratulations on being a dad. It's a big, important role, and we congratulate you all on doing that, on making those choices and being a father. And we want to say to everyone else, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We have a little long weekend here in Trinidad. Grateful for these long weekends, guys. So enjoy and be safe, and we will see all of you and a friend, at least one friend, in the next show. All right, guys. Have a great night. Bye.